Welcome to the first episode of the Honor Society covering all things Ring of Honor. I'm so very pleased to be an official part of the Turnbuckle Tavern and get the show underway. My name's Stephen Acefield. I'm joined by two amazing, knowledgeable fans of pro wrestling. Let's introduce yourself, guys.
Yeah, go ahead, Sneed.
Well, I'm Sneed. I am one of the founders of the Turnbuckle Tavern. You'll find me on the debate and also on the flagship show. Also president of Raw Down. So you'll see me on there when those guys are, having trouble.
And I'm FREEMZ. I stream over at twitch.tv/FREEMZ, aka the Shillbilly, as you'll hear me shout out my channel multiple times. Also am known to have the biggest brain of the Turnbuckle Tavern. I think it's what people say, right?
I haven't heard that, but
so I've heard, yes. So before we get officially underway, let's take care of some housekeeping. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Turnbuckle Tavern. We are giving out hours of free content. The least you can do is give us some feedback, show some love that way. It goes a very long way. Even better, leave a 5-star review and go to turnbuckletavern.com, pick up some merch. We might even have some Honor Society merchandise available for purchase sooner than later. Support the show, guys. I really appreciate it. But let's get into it, guys. I wanted to start talking about our Ring of Honor fandom experience. Quick hits of just live shows you've been a part of, what the Ring of Honor company and brand means to both of you. So let's start with you, Sneed.
Well, for me, it's a little like Ring of Honor. I've always kind of considered myself to be a casual fan of Ring of Honor. I never really followed as much. Never went to any shows with Ring of Honor. Followed in the past with big storylines that had happened in the past, but never followed as it was going on. I do have favorite matches and favorite moments from what I've gone back and watched, but I'm excited for this because it's going to get me involved. And I think it's going to make me go back and do more deep dives and become just a huge fan of Ring of Honor. I'm just super pumped for what is happening in the future with this and for this show. So
absolutely. We're definitely going to get into that one. FREEMZ, what about you, man? I know you're a big Ring of Honor fan.
Yep.
Yeah. I started watching Ring of Honor probably back around 2003, 2004. Back when before you could stream wrestling on the internet, you had to buy the DVDs and be a high schooler wearing Joey Ryan and Colt Cabana t-shirts, CM Punk, back before, WWE, big time fan. Quit watching around 2018 and I kind of got back into it right before it shut down. So I'm super excited about this.
Same here. And some of my favorite memories, I have 3 of my favorite memories of live shows I've been to. First, Sign of Dishonor, which was July 2005, where Punk actually signed the WWE contract on the Ring of Honor belt. So very memorable. Actually met AJ Styles and peed next to Jay Lethal that night in the bathroom of Sports Plus. So I told that story in my podcast. I won't get into it. G1 Supercard, obviously at MSG. That was a game-changing moment. Might have created AEW as we know it. And then, of course, Best in the World, June 2018. And that was Briscoes versus the Bucks in Baltimore, Maryland. So that was an awesome show to be a part of. But yeah, we are coming at this from different angles, guys. I think we have different levels of fandom. FREEMZ seems like he's the longest tenured Ring of Honor fan, and we're going to be talking about the history and getting into what's going on current day. Before we get into the card, because I know that's what everyone's tuning in for, do we have any quick predictions about who do you think AEW is going to base the Ring of Honor brand around? Maybe 2 or 3 guys. We won't get too deep into it because I'm sure we'll talk about it as time goes on. But let's start with you, FREEMZ. Is there a guy that you have pegged maybe to base the whole new Ring of Honor around to make it, I guess, unique from AEW?
So I do think there's going to be a few staples. I think we're going to learn a lot more after the event, especially with Tony Khan's surprises and with the ROH Hall of Fame coming up. I don't want to, because that was a part of my prediction for something else. I don't get too far into it. But obviously, I think the Briscoes are going to be there. I think that's a good spot for him. And I feel like Ring of Honor is going to be a good place for a lot of indie guys to have really good matches with AEW wrestlers. I think we're going to see a whole lot of that, which could potentially get them signed. I feel like it will almost work better than what NXT does for WWE, where they'll still have like the bigger talents on Ring of Honor to showcase the up and coming indie guys. So,
what about you, Sneed? How are you feeling about this? You feel it should be guys that are on the AEW roster, or maybe somewhere else, like FREEMZ is saying?
I tend to agree more with what FREEMZ is saying on that, just because I think Briscoes will be featured. I think it's going to be a good place for Jay Lethal. I think he'll finally find his spot. And I think since he's joined AEW, I don't know if he's really found that spot that he's been looking for. And I think with ROH coming back, he's going to go over there and really shine. And I think with the surprises that come tomorrow night, I think we'll know a lot about it then. But I think there's a couple of staples and one that I'll get into when we do some predictions.
Absolutely. I love the predictions you guys had. Briscoes and also Jay Lethal sound like great guys to build around. I also have guys like Yuta Wheeler in mind, especially since he's challenging for the Pure Championship. Yep. Daniel Garcia comes to mind. I know he's involved heavily in storylines now in AEW, but he would fit so perfectly in Ring of Honor as we used to know it. And I look at a guy like Keith Lee, who has some experience in Ring of Honor. He obviously was a part of being a tag team with Shane Taylor, so we didn't see the Keith Lee we might know today, but all those guys are interesting, and I'm sure that Tony Khan has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. And like you guys said, I think we have to learn what's going to happen at SuperCard before we can even like make any sort of informed predictions. So let's get right into the scoop, our first segment. So I love that. Great job, Chad. That was amazing. So this segment will be used to just talk about the news going on in Ring of Honor. And right now we have just the obvious news. We just talked about Tony Khan relaunching Ring of Honor. We're going to play a clip in a second about him talking about what the rebrand is going to look like. But let's get into just a little bit of this about the weekly TV show following April SuperCard. During his weekly appearance on Busted Open Radio, he had said that he's guaranteeing we're having some sort of TV deal on a weekly basis. Do we have any predictions on what we think that might look like? I guess let's start with you, FREEMZ.
I have no idea, because I don't think it's going to be on a Tom Warner thing, right? Like, because they don't want the Briscoes anywhere near their channel.
Good point.
Unless that's all fake. I don't know. That could build up to a whole separate storyline in itself, unless that's a work. Yeah, it'd be. I don't know. I really don't know. He didn't say it was going to be. Maybe I missed it. That part of the news. I thought he said it whether it be online or on TV.
Yeah, I know he said there was going to be weekly and there was going to be storylines to follow. So you might be right. It could just be streaming similar. But I think for me, it has to be a step above what YouTube is right now. It can't just be what they're doing in AEW Dark. I think it has to be a step above. What do you think about that, Sneed?
Well, I think it's going to be whatever we get. I think it's going to be a step above what we were getting with ROH before, which is a reason that I didn't follow as much, is because whenever I would catch it on, and we've talked about this on the flagship show before, but whenever I'd catch it on, it would be so out of order. I didn't know what we didn't know what we were watching. There was no specific time slot. It would come on at 3 a.m. I mean, I'd catch it at 3 a.m. and have no idea what storyline we were even watching. So I think whatever we get, it's going to be better than what we got before.
Yeah, and I think what FREEMZ had mentioned before and alluded to with the NXT utilization of probably the original black and yellow brand before they did the whole whatever colorful rebrand, utilizing that just to get guys on TV every week in some capacity, it will be much better than AEW Dark. So we'll see where they go with that. But like you said, I mean, we're just making predictions, throwing shots in the dark here because we have to wait and see. The other thing on the news here is the Hall of Fame update. We had on March 5th, they announced the first class of Ring of Honor Hall of Fame. Briscoes, Punk, Danielson, Joe, and then Silken, who's the former owner from 2004 to 2011. Do you guys think they missed anybody on this first class? Sneed?
Absolutely. Oh, good.
I mean, I think there's people that are definitely missed. I don't know if they had as much time to really prepare for it. I don't know how far in advance we knew that Tony Khan was buying it, or if this was put into place before he bought it. So I don't really know who else I would add at this time. but I feel like here in the future, now that Tony owns it, we're going to see a lot more people get added to it.
What about you, FREEMZ?
I don't have a problem necessarily with the names that are there, but I feel like some of those names could have gone on at a different time. And I feel, to me personally, I feel like it's a shame to not have, like, well, Loki specifically should have definitely been in the first class. It's almost fresh. Like it actually angers me. Like I'm upset about it. Because this looks like they took a bunch of like, and I don't want to downplay them because they were great in Ring of Honor, but like these are the guys that made it to the WWE, like on a big capacity. And Homicide should have been on there too. But I'm cool with Homicide going.
I was going to talk about too.
Yeah, I'm cool with him going in on like the next year, even though I feel like you should have had some more of the old school dudes in the first class, like because people like Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Samoa Joe, any of those three could have gone into the next class. But I think you got to have at least two of them. You want to make it big, right? I get that, but like, come on now, get Loki in there, get Homicide in there.
First Ring of Honor champion. I feel like he has to be there unless there's some heat between I don't know. Is there something going on? I know he's wrestling for House of Glory and he's still out there doing his thing. So what's the deal with him not being there? I really can't put my finger on it. But like you said, I think bigger for the next kind of classes, I don't think they should have all these guys in one. I mean, the Briscoes, Punk, Danielson, Joe, they all could have headlined their own class. So if you would have went with the WWE approach, a lot of times they don't take, because it almost takes the spotlight off of some of the bigger names. I'm not sure what are some of the smaller names that could have been in, but again, conjecture for next year. I think this is going to be a yearly thing, right?
Yeah, I see that happening. I see it being a yearly thing,
which is great.
Yeah, I think it's awesome too, and hopefully it becomes. I don't know. I would love a physical Hall of Fame. Maybe they can trump WWE in a way that we can have some physical Hall of Fame. That'd be awesome too. But
it has to be a physical Hall of Fame, right? I mean, come on.
There's so much out there, like as far as memorabilia goes and ring use stuff. I'm sure Ring of Honor itself has enough stuff to make a wing, you know? So
yeah.
All right, so moving on, we have the women's title situation. So we do have the match coming up for the Interim Women's World Championship, which we will get into about the predictions and who's in the match. But Tony Khan was talking with Impact about utilizing Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Deonna Purrazzo. They were unable to come to an agreement with Impact running a show that exact night. So Mercedes Martinez versus Willow Nightingale will square off with a winner facing Deonna Purrazzo in the future, undetermined date. So what do we think about that? Well, obviously, we know the Briscoes are doing two matches in one night, so it's possible. What do you think about the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion not being on the card?
Well, I think that I feel like with the open policy that AEW had with Impact before, I wouldn't see that as being a big deal. I don't know what happened behind the scenes for it not to happen, but I feel like that should have been something that could have been facilitated.
What about you, FREEMZ?
It's hard to see what's happened, but I feel like you can't do something just in case it is like a permanent thing. What if she can never come? Like, what if she can never make it there? Then you have to do something eventually. I think it just makes sense to do it. And if that's work out and she can come there, that's got to build a storyline right there. So,
yeah. So the quote they had. So this is the quote from Tony. I questioned the wisdom at the time, maybe of doing a match where there's a possibility of someone taking the belt of another company that's running a show the very same night. But again, now that I'm doing the booking for Ring of Honor, so we'll continue to see how that shakes out. So Tony Khan is inheriting a company that already had plans. So this pay-per-view was already planned. I think if he was able to make the choice, he wouldn't have ran Ring of Honor on the same night as Rampage. I think that's obvious at this point. But he is honoring the fact that people bought tickets to the show. And I think it's really important to him that the fans feel happy and they don't feel burned in any way, especially as they open a new company and start a new era. So we're moving on to I just want to show this thing and maybe we can react to it. So this is Tony Khan hyping the pay-per-view.
I have been told that they booked this show a little bit out there for what's going on. It may be a little bit off the beaten path, but I'm just going to tell everyone right now, it's going to be worth it to come to the show. It's going to be worth it to stay. I know there are other people doing shows on Friday night, but this is going to be the best one. And I'm going to make sure that it is. And, people control and say what they want, but the people that have actually ordered the pay-per-views know Nobody does pay-per-views better at this point. And that's not an opinion, that's a fact. And so I will promise to deliver an awesome pay-per-view here, the best Ring of Honor pay-per-view I can possibly do. It'll be different than an AEW pay-per-view, but in terms of promising that there's going to be good matches and I'll deliver a lot of fun stuff for the fans and do the best I can, it will be very similar. So that is a promise right now, and I know there will be a lot of people around the Dallas area. You're going to want to come.
So start you, FREEMZ. What's your reaction to what he said there? I mean, talking a really big game.
I'm excited. I'm excited. There's so many possibilities of things that can happen, especially when he gone the helm there. He hasn't done me wrong yet. You know what I mean? AEW's been great, so I don't know if we want to get to predictions of what I think could happen yet, but I'm more excited for SuperCard of HONOR than I am for Mania.
Yeah, we broke up a little bit there, but I think we got the main point there. I mean, we're all super stoked. Tony Khan is one of those guys. He has a reputation at this point for living up to his promises. And when he promises something big to happen, you know it's going to happen. So I think he's developing that type of reputation where as other promoters, other companies have let people down so much. And I think Tony Khan is relying on the fact that, I mean, think about All Out all those months ago with Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole. He over-delivers. Yeah. So you know that Ring of Honor is going to be special. Steve, what's your take on what he said?
Well, I think anytime you get Tony Khan telling you that it's not an opinion, it's a fact, I think I don't think we have to worry about it under-delivering. He always – the good thing about Tony is he's not just a promoter. He's not just an owner of a company. He's not just – this guy's a super fan. So I think when he says – which I think he had another quote where he said, "Don't leave. I know there's other events going on. Don't leave. You'll regret it. It'll be one of the biggest regrets you'll have." Like when he says things like that, man, I can't wait to watch what happens. I was there in Chicago for Punk and Adam Cole. Like if he delivers on that level, I mean,
dude,
whew.
What if they do like this is so like probably not going to happen. Obviously, I don't see it happening. But if they pull a quick one and they do something like wild, like Punk Joe 4, like just I mean, I feel like they would advertise that. You would want to advertise that, but like to see people, like especially the ROH legends that are in AEW showing up there, people like Punk, people like Bryan Danielson. I
mean, the door is completely open for a guy like Punk, a guy like Danielson. The list is endless. We have Ring of Honor lineage littered throughout AEW right now, and there's guys on the indies too that could be brought in, and we'll talk about predictions that we have for later. But there's so many endless opportunities for people to get excited about. And the thing is, like I said before, and I don't want to say it too many times, but Tony Khan delivers on these promises, so you can get your hopes really high, and chances are you're not going to be let down.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Let's move on to top honors.
Top honors.
So typically this would be a match moment or promo of the week when we start getting into our weekly show. But this has to be preemptive as we're talking about hypotheticals and predictions and what ifs. I wanted to use the top honors section too, because it's such a beautiful video that Chad made. I wanted to make sure we have it in here. What are we most excited for? I'll start myself. I am definitely most excited for FTR Briscoes. And if we all have the same answer, that's okay. I'm not going to get into the weeds about why I'm excited and what I think will happen. Just want to put it out there. This match has been highly anticipated since December. It's been built up through social media, through different companies. It's kind of the idea of the Forbidden Door, and it's born. The excitement has been born through just anticipation of what could happen, and the fact that you have two of the best tag teams in the world that were taking their time telling the story. They did not rush it. Sneed, what about you? What are you most excited for?
FTR Briscoes. I mean, the build up, the promos that the Briscoes have, the barn promos that they've been cutting, amazing. the promos that FTR have done in return. I just can't wait to see. I've wanted to see these guys get their hands on each other for a long time, and I'm pumped that it's finally happening. Can't wait.
What about you, FREEMZ?
You guys even hear me? I think I don't know what's going on. Actually, I have really good internet, so.
Yeah, you're a little craggly. I think Tony Khan is cutting the Wi-Fi because we're showing some good videos. But if you want, I can remove you for a sec if you want to try to come back in.
Yeah, we can try that.
All right. So right now we have FREEMZ on technical fritz, but we talked about the Briscoes. I mean, the thing is, it's one of those feuds that has been built up through social media, and I think it's like the perfect 2022 level of program. It's not done. I mean, really, the Briscoes haven't really had a home since Ring of Honor went out of business, quote unquote, or just shut their doors temporarily.
Yep.
I think the story's built beautifully, and the Briscoes aren't even on AEW TV, and it's almost like they're using AEW as a platform to build their characters. It's actually really clever.
Well, it's pretty crazy that they're not on any type of national TV, but yet everybody knows about this feud.
Absolutely. And we go all the way back to, I believe it was Final Battle 2021, which was December. And, the Briscoes have been all over the place. They've been killing it. These guys have been in the business for 20 plus years, and they still look better than ever.
Yeah.
They're wrestling all different tag teams. I saw them at House of Glory about a month ago. They were supposed to be wrestling the Lucha Brothers. House of Glory did some false advertising because Rey Fenix wasn't ready to go yet.
Yeah.
Didn't really appreciate that. They had Penta there, but still the Briscoes were there. They stole the show. It was another local luchador who wrestled with Penta, which was cool. It was a good match. But just, on the Briscoes, they go out there every night, and just for Friday night, they're going out there and they are wrestling in two different companies on the same goddamn night. So Deonna Purrazzo really has no excuse.
No,
the precedent's been set.
Dude, I watched the Briscoes in an armory in a little town in Kentucky a couple weeks ago. Like, these guys are out there and they put on a killer match for like 200 people. So
yeah, they have the ability to just treat every match like it's the biggest match of their career. And I think that's what sets them apart from these other tag teams and the other independent talent. They're just not going there making dates. They're going out there and making a name for themselves. So
Briscoes, yeah. Greatest tag team never employed by WWE, WCW, ECW, AEW. Totally agree.
Hard to argue that point. Great point. FREEMZ, can we hear you now?
Getting super low upload speeds. Okay. I'm gonna have to. I don't know. I've never had internet issues. So. All
right, let's have you reboot. He's on a
Nokia flip.
My computer's hardwired in and everything. I don't use Wi-Fi, so.
He's streaming on a 2003 Ring of Honor Wi-Fi LAN right now. So
he's got his notes on his Palm Pilot.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so FREEMZ, here's the deal. I think we should have you restart, come back in. I'll let you in as soon as you get in here.
I'll be right back.
So the two of us will continue.
Sweet.
We were talking obviously about Top Honors. You and I both agree, and I think we can go through the whole card and just say we're excited for every match. So it was hard to choose.
Yeah.
It seemed obvious to me that Briscoes was the right choice, but then as I was combing through the card, I was like, I'm kind of more excited for this match. I went with my initial reaction. Did you have the same experience?
Yeah, I did. It's hard for me not to say that I'm just excited for the whole the event as a whole. Now I'm excited for Tully's new, who Tully's bringing in. Like, that's an exciting. I'm excited for the Suzuki TV title match. I mean, there's so many matches, man. The Willer Yuta match.
What I'm most excited for is the match is going to be great. I'm excited for the presentation and how Tony Khan takes it to the next level because what he does, and if you look at AEW throughout its short history, he taps into wrestling history and really pays homage to it in an appropriate way. So there's going to be nods to the hardcore fan like FREEMZ, who has been watching Ring of Honor since 2003. There's going to be, subtle nuances that fit what the aesthetic of Ring of Honor used to be, but also with the big time feel of what AEW can bring to national TV. It's the perfect storm for a wrestling fan.
It really is. And the good thing about Tony Khan is he doesn't shy away from story that's happened in the past. He doesn't pretend that it didn't happen. He doesn't act like things never happened. He always honors the past and doesn't just kind of sweep it under and let's just keep it new. Yeah. So
Yeah, I fully expect him to go into Ring of Honor, tapping into the history and, taking the Ring of Honor lineage of the Ring of Honor Championship, because, past companies, you look at, not that we want to talk about WWE, but it's hard to ignore when they took over WCW and ECW, how they completely wiped the history out and wanted to, and the narrative change in favor of somebody else. I'm curious too, and we can get into the conversation, and I'm sure it's going to be littered throughout every show we do. Is he going to be willing to make AEW look not inferior, but on the same level as a different brand that it wasn't his baby? That's going to be the biggest test to having Ring of Honor succeed, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's going to be the main thing that a lot of people are watching, is to see how he's going to treat it, and can it become bigger than what AEW is, or is he going to let that happen?
Yeah, and I think that is what Tony Khan has shown to be. He is a guy who's not insecure with that. I don't think we're going to see an invasion angle by any means, but I think Ring of Honor, it only does him justice because he now owns the branding. He owns everything about it. So why not make it as best as possible? Why make your brand look better? I just never understood that mindset from when WWE purchased WCW and ECW and made them look inferior. So I'm really excited for what Tony Khan does. And I do trust him. I know we sound like fanboys all the time. I listen to the AEW wrap-up show, with you guys, and we all praise AEW, but it's not that it's not justified. He's going out there and making us happy. It may not make every fan happy, but it makes me happy, and that's all I can ask for.
Nah, you can call me a homer. You can call me a mark for it. I don't care. I mean, he's proven that he doesn't put out a bad product. So it's easy for me to defend that.
So let's start going through the matches right here, and it's a long card. We had some matches actually being announced in real time. So Tony Khan, almost knowing the Honor Society was coming out, he's like, let me make sure I get these last two matches in here so that the guys could break them down and have a full card to talk about. So the first match up here, we're talking about the Interim Women's Championship, Mercedes Martinez versus Willow. So as we talked about, Deonna Purrazzo is no longer on the card. She's unable to compete because she has prior obligations. We talked about maybe she could have made it, maybe she couldn't. She doesn't have the work rate that the Briscoes have, they're able to get from city to city. Oh, not even city. You have to just walk a couple blocks. I think it's in Dallas. I don't know the exact addresses.
Block to block.
Yeah, so just pack a bag and get over there, grab some food and grab a water and get back in the ring.
Yeah.
But so what's your feelings on this match? I know that we've seen Mercedes Martinez in AEW. She hasn't done much. I know people were excited when she came over. Do you have an initial prediction, or are you excited for this match at all?
I mean, I am excited. I want to see. I'm excited for all of them. I want to see what's going to happen with everything. I do feel like Willow is going to take the win over Mercedes Martinez on this one. I think Mercedes I think she'll be more of a floater between the two companies. I think Willow's going to be all ROH.
Yeah. So with Ring of Honor, obviously the Interim Women's Championship is going to be established. And the funny part is we had the TNT Interim Championship set precedent for what's going to be done here. So I think we know what Tony Khan has a game plan to do with the Women's Championship, probably two belts, eventually merge them together. So it was almost an easy decision for him to do this, and it was the right decision to do because it's a Ring of Honor show. You have to have the women represented. You have to have an ability to have the women's division be established on the first big show that Tony Khan's running. You don't want the women not to be on the show, especially the title. It wouldn't have made sense. I think it's going to be a great match. I agree with you. I think Willow's taking the win here. I think Mercedes Martinez has unfinished business in AEW. Yeah. I certainly don't think she's going to be spending her time in Ring of Honor, but who knows? Like we said, we don't know what Tony Khan has up his sleeve. Let's move on to the next match, and this is for the ROH Pure Championship. And there are some questions I have about this match, and I want to know if they're going to be going with the Pure Wrestling rules that they had established way back in the day. So I have them in front of me. President Steen, I know you love rules.
Love them.
So there's three Pure Wrestling rules that they abide by, and they have to be conducted throughout the match. So each wrestler has 3 rope breaks to stop submission holds and pinfalls during the match. After a wrestler exhausts his rope breaks, submission and pin attempts under the ropes by the opponent are now considered legal. There are no closed fist punches to the face allowed in the Pure match, only open hand slaps. So Minoru Suzuki is going to do really well here. And the punches to other parts of the body, except for low blows, are permitted. The first use of a closed hand would get a warning. The second would cause the wrestler to be penalized by rope break. And if he's already out of rope breaks, he will be disqualified. And then we also have a 20 count instead of a 10 count. And then unlike other championship, the Ring of Honor Pure Championship could change hands on a DQ or a disqualification or a countout. In the beginning, Ring of Honor really abided by these rules. In the newer era, they have not. They just kind of went with shake your hands. You could lose the title on DQ, but they didn't go with the rope break thing. I'm leaning towards I want it to be unique. If you're going to have a pure championship, you might as well go out there and make it unique. And I think Josh Woods versus Willow Yuta, it's the perfect way to introduce this match, especially with the way Willow Yuta's on a roll with AEW television.
Yep. Willer's on a roll right now. And I think if they're going to do it, and as what we talked about, Tony Khan honoring tradition, I think it would be really nice to see them have the pure championship rules added into this match.
Yeah, I can certainly see them doing it, and especially Tony Khan has an affinity for history and the lineage of wrestling. So if the pure championship is going to be involved, they're defending it. Obviously, he thinks it's important. If you notice, we don't see the 6-man championship on here because probably he has an idea about what he wants to do with maybe a 6-man championship and doesn't want it to be introduced under the Ring of Honor watch. So I thought that was very interesting because I think this card shows what he believes Ring of Honor should and could be.
Right.
And the pure championship is obviously important to him.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have some thoughts on what I think should happen with the 6-man. I've talked about it before. I didn't even think about them not having it on here for what Tony might have up his sleeve for it, but I think this is going to be a really good match. Wheeler Yuta's on a tear right now, and I think it would really benefit him if he took the title in this match.
I fully expect Willow Yuta to win this match. I don't think you can go any other way, especially now that what they did on Dynamite with Bryan Danielson and Willow Yuta with the spit in the face and earning Bryan's respect. And then the whole story is just perfect. And if he wins the pure championship, which Bryan Danielson has love for and he appreciates the tradition of wrestling, it just almost breeds the storyline itself. I'm sure we'll see the Ring of Honor championships on AEW television just to get them some spotlight and keep them in people's psyche. But this is the perfect way to do it. I was so impressed with Willow Yuta. If you guys did not watch Dynamite, go back and watch the AEW wrap-up that Turnbuckle Tavern did yesterday. I did a great job of talking about that match. But this match, I think, has potential to steal the show. And I know it's not one that people are going into saying that's the match I'm most looking forward to. But I think everybody knows just down the middle, it's going to be a great match.
And don't be surprised if you have Regal out there watching this match too.
Yeah, and I think that would that adds to the surprises. I mean, I know that Tony Khan loves to pull out all the stops to get people their eyes, and it makes it feel like a big deal, especially if the guys from AEW, you mentioned, I think FREEMZ mentioned Punk and Bryan Danielson. Who knows if we see Bryan Danielson? He probably wants to be there.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I have no doubt that we see those guys at this event. No doubt.
Yeah, maybe they even have, and I know that they're not going to do what WWE does with come on the stage and wave to everybody for the Hall of Fame. But maybe they have something where they bring them in the ring and say, this is the first class of Ring of Honor Hall of Fame. And let's just give them a round of applause. I think that'd be really cool. And from the jump, it sets off Ring of Honor to be at the same level as AEW because Punk and Bryan took the time to get there. And I think it's a great start, and especially even, just setting the tone. I mean, I don't know how you handle the Briscoes since they're going in and also wrestling that night, but I think it should be at least done in some capacity.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, like I said, I don't think we don't see these guys show up.
All right, let's move on to the next match here. And we have Jay Lethal, who was off to a hot start last night with a great match with Moxley, taking on Lee Moriarty. We have two AEW guys coming out here. And if you listen to my show last night, wrapping up AEW, I just went on a rant about how Jay Lethal should be one of the backbones of the new Ring of Honor because he still has so much to give to the wrestling business. He was absolutely awesome in the match with Moxley. I don't think we see enough of Jay Lethal. I'm not blaming Tony Khan because they have an embarrassment of talent. It's just way too much.
Yep.
And Jay Lethal is one of those guys that falls to the wayside. And I think Ring of Honor benefits him most, really. I think he could be a guy that you have from the initial beginning. He could be your main event guy that you throw out there and say, former Ring of Honor champion going out there, and even have him just be on there full time. I mean, you can bring him to AEW when you need to, but he fits perfectly with Ring of Honor and the image that I believe Ring of Honor should have.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anybody that was probably more excited to hear that Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor than Jay Lethal. I think once he found out that Tony Khan was buying Ring of Honor, he thought, finally I have a place. And I think this is going to showcase where his place is going to be. I don't think there's any way Lethal doesn't win this match. He is going to go over there. He's going to shine. He shined in the match against Moxley. I don't think he needed that win to make him coming into this match look. He's not going to look weak. That's not going to make him look weak coming into this match. He is Ring of Honor, and I think this is the spot where he lands.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Lethal come on the winning side of many matches in AEW so far. But I don't think he looks weak. It's weird because in AEW, wins and losses are almost everything, or they should be, or they advertise it as being. But even though Lethal's come in and lost pretty much every match he's wrestled that meant something, and he came in, wrestled Sammy for the TNT Championship and lost, but he still felt like he was a big deal. And every time he comes out, I felt like when he wrestled Moxley, it was a big deal last night. And it may just be the history of Ring of Honor, and then I'm an AEW Ring of Honor fan, and I was about to do this show. It just felt like, oh, awesome. Moxley's not just having a job match. He's going out there and wrestling a guy who means something. And then the fact he went to shake his hand with the Code of Honor, Moxley threw it away. It's just so much nuance that people, if you're looking for it, Tony Khan's dropping hints of how everything's interconnected. And I just love the storytelling.
Love it. Can't wait for this one's. And that's, I mean, I know Yuta, that match has potential to be match of the night. I think this could be a contender too.
100%. And don't forget, we didn't even talk about Lee Moriarty at all. That guy's super talented, one of the best wrestlers that AEW has on their roster, and another guy that you just see on AEW Dark and Rampage for the most part. And he could be showcased in a place like Ring of Honor. Absolutely. All right, moving on to the next. Just want to talk about this here. Joe Hendry will be on the card. He did cut a promo. I want to just show him because I'm a big Joe Hendry fan. He is from Ring of Honor originally. Let's go see what he had to say.
2 days. In just 2 days, Joe Hendry's going to get on a plane in Scotland and fly all the way to Dallas, Texas to show the world the work that I've put in. Now, my reason for making this video is simple. Scorpio Sky. The other day, you posted a video that got me fired up. It got me inspired. You said, who on this roster is going to be the one to take this opportunity, seize the moment, and push themselves to that next level? Well, I'm going to save everyone the time because it's me, Joe Hendry. And I'm sitting here in front of 2 championship titles and a poem called The Man in the Arena, which is so appropriate because April 1st, I will be the man in the arena with something to prove. I'm going to prove to Ring of Honor management, Ring of Honor fans, Tony Khan himself. I'm going to prove that Joe Hendry is the next big star in professional wrestling. Now, I don't know who I'm going to face. It could be anyone, past, present or future, but I will tell you this. There's nothing I won't do to seize this opportunity and prove that I am exactly who I say I am. I will be the next big star in professional wrestling, and April 1st, Dallas, Texas, SuperCard of HONOR. It's time for me to prove it.
Wow. I mean, love the guy. And I think just passion. The promo was great. And he cut that in his house, and it just felt like he was in a studio. Absolutely amazing promo. I really have no predictions about who he's wrestling. I just hope that he gets out there and he shines because he's from the original guard of Ring of Honor, who was already on the roster, and Tony Khan inherited it. Obviously, they released everybody, but he was in Ring of Honor, and I think he's important to bring back because he represents what Ring of Honor was. And I think he also taps into what the history is as well, even though he's more of a recent wrestler, only I think 34 years old, so he still has a lot of time left wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people that, I mean, to throw a prediction as to who he's going to wrestle, I don't know if it would be fair to do that because there's so many people that could show up for that match.
Yeah, I mean, especially since we have another match on this card, which we'll get to about with a mystery opponent because, and we know Tony Khan, he's going to pull out all the stops. So it could literally be anyone who's not employed by WWE right now. That's really it.
I mean, it may be fun. I mean, if we want to throw a couple of names out there, maybe. I mean, it may be fun to see Brian Cage, maybe.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And especially as a guy that obviously AEW liked, they showcased him in a big way. And they just, one of the guys that was excess, didn't have a good spot on the card, just became excess. And it's not because he's not talented. It's because of just how much good talent there is in AEW.
They kept him under contract. They didn't let him contract. So
yeah. Very, very true. So I am looking forward. I would definitely not be disappointed. But then you have an opportunity to be like, all right, who are you putting over here? Who's winning that match?
Yeah.
So it's challenging. let's move on to the next match here. And this was just announced probably 15 minutes before we came on air. Minoru Suzuki versus Titus Rhett for the Ring of Honor World TV Championship. This match, we talked about the pure rules with the slaps. Minoru Suzuki loves that stuff. Suzuki all over the place this weekend. He's at, I think he's at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport right now. He's in GCW doing some stuff. He's all over Dallas right now, just slapping people in the face. I love Minoru Suzuki. Anytime he's in the ring, I'm looking forward to it. And Titus Rhett isn't a slouch himself. I don't see them putting the title on Minoru Suzuki, but just going out there and having Suzuki on your first card,
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
That's a big deal. And he's always fun to watch. His entrance is always fun. It always gets a big pop. I mean, it's going to be a fun match, but I don't see him winning it, but what a name to get your win over on the first pay-per-view back.
Yeah, one of my favorite runs of the summer was Suzuki's run through AEW and just having him have this free reign, and he was away from Japan. I just love the open door policy. People call it the forbidden door, whatever it is, just the open relationship that these companies have together. It feels special. It feels important. And Tony Khan has this progressive way of thinking about wrestling that promoters of the past didn't have. And I think it's really important that a guy like Suzuki can come in and help establish the brand as a big deal. And he doesn't have to win. He doesn't have to go over with the guys that are already there. But having these guys on the card just establishes, all right, I have to watch this. I mean, he was on AEW. He's also in New Japan. He's a legend. I have to watch this. And for the casual fan, like, oh, crap, Suzuki's here? It just sets a tone.
He shows up and has a match with Mox. I mean, being there in Chicago when he showed up, that was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he was also at Grand Slam, wrestled that in that hardcore tag match where eventually it just got out of hand, and it was just amazing. Moxley was involved in that as well. That was a lot of fun at Grand Slam. It looks like we have FREEMZ back in here. Let's see if we got the... We got FREEMZ back in here. Looks like he's still a little craggly.
It's frustrating. If it gets too bad, I'll just dip out, and I can't get hold of anyone yet.
All right. Sounds like his Wi-Fi issues, and if you can get him figured out, no problem. We'll get you back in here. We do want to hear FREEMZ's thoughts. He is the most hardcore ROH fan that we have in here, so I want to hear his thoughts.
Yeah,
he will be here every week with us. There's no doubt about it. Just, technical difficulties. I know he's having some weather near him right now, so could be that.
Sounds like a holler net issue. He's got some holler net going on. It's amazing. It's not me this time. It's him that has the holler net.
You know what, though? This is live programming, so anything
can
happen,
pal.
Guys. We're live, pal. So, but yeah, we also, just before FREEMZ, if he doesn't dip out, we want to just hype up. He's having a stream at 8, twitch.tv/FREEMZ. Make sure you guys check that out. Does a lot of cool stuff there, not just wrestling. He talks about everything. Funny guy, and has a lot of good stuff going on that channel. Make sure you guys do that. So, all right, jumping back into the card, we have another match that was just announced to Ninja Mac with Tully Blanchard's new client. So there's been a lot of conjecture. You and I were talking off air about who we thought it could be.
Yep.
Before we get into the prediction, I was a little confused that Tully Blanchard was involved, because the fact that he was discarded from AEW plans and storylines from FTR, I just thought he wanted to be home as an older guy. He was just done with wrestling for a bit.
Yeah.
It seems like they just got rid of Tully Blanchard just to get rid of him, separating from FTR, maybe do the face turn and have Bret Hart join. But doesn't seem like Tully's done. He wants to be a part of something. So
yeah, and I think that's good. And I think that puts a little bit more legitimacy to the Bret Hart thing coming in to play, which we won't get into that. But I am pumped to see Tully still involved. And I think this is a great way to get and keep him involved in the business. Because I know he wants to be involved. The guy's, he's a legend.
Yeah, I thought when he first came in and he was with Shawn Spears, I love the pairing right there. It legitimized. He's always been he's been wondering where Tully's gone. We found him, Nick. We found him. But the thing with Tully is that he legitimizes anybody he's with, like you just mentioned. The lineage with 4 Horsemen, and we knew he had heat with WWE. They kept him out of their story. He hadn't been in WWE since, I guess, the Brainbusters. He went in as the 4 Horsemen, but it was like, it was a mission just to get him to do his speech and then get him out. Obviously, they don't want him there because he doesn't play well with others. Seems like he's been nothing but a model citizen with AEW. So who knows who he has beef with the WWE side. But either way, I love that he brings legitimacy to whoever he's with. Because if you can make Shawn Spears feel important, you're doing something right.
It's very true. And when he was with Sean Spears and he was doing the black glove thing, that's the best thing Sean Spears has ever done. So it made me want to watch Sean Spears.
100%. And I think whoever he's with, I'll let you go first and predict who you think it is, and shoot your shot. See if you can get this right.
Well, and like I told you before we came on the air, I sat in my car when I got home because I didn't know this was announced. And I sat there for 15 minutes going through people that it could be. And I landed on one person. And I don't think once I landed on that person, I don't think it can be anybody else. I think we see Claudio. I think Cesaro shows up. I think this is the time that he finally comes back.
And that's a really big deal. We both agree with that. Sight unseen, we had the conversation. We both said 1, 2, 3, said at the same time. We were like, did we just become best friends? And I think that's what happened. So Claudio Castagnoli, I think, is showing up, and I think it fits perfectly. I think he's the perfect client for a guy like Tully Blanchard. He wrestles that type of style. He looks like a wrestler that Tully would be around. Cesaro, Claudio, whatever you want to call him, he has unfinished business in the wrestling world. Caught fire around 2014. Somehow WWE just didn't capitalize on it. I think that he could be a huge, huge star, and the Ring of Honor is the right spot. I thought if they brought him into AEW when the time was right, possibly at Revolution, possibly it would have been too much. One of those guys is just too much.
FREEMZ, we got you back?
Probably not.
Okay. All right. We'll keep trying, though. We'll keep trying.
It looked like he was doing okay down there for a second. I thought maybe
I know. That's why, I saw it looked really good.
But I agree with you, dude. I think Claudio could be the guy, and I think it's going to get the biggest pop maybe of the whole weekend. WrestleMania, GCW, everything there. It's probably going to get the biggest reaction because the guy, you want to talk about Joey Janela deserving his flowers? Claudio deserves his damn flowers. He is such a great wrestler, and I don't think he's given the just due. People just forget that of everything he's accomplished so far, and he has so much more to accomplish and give to the wrestling business.
You know, when he left WWE, he didn't have the 90-day. This guy can show up at any time, and I think there's a reason we haven't seen him yet. I think this is the reason.
Absolutely, and I think people were expecting him to show up possibly in that ladder match. It wound up being, who it was for Revolution, but I think the timing's right because if Tony had read the tea leaves and said, all right, I'm acquiring Ring of Honor, the perfect thing to do is bring in a guy who established himself, gave a big name. We even see Eddie Kingston dropping hits about Claudio throughout social media saying he wants to slap him in the face. So usually where there's smoke, there's fire with these guys, and I think this would be perfect. If he's not brought in here, obviously he can be brought in elsewhere. It doesn't mean that he can't be brought in. But I think it would be a perfect prediction, and I would definitely get behind that.
I can get behind Cesaro and Tully together. I'm all about that.
Absolutely. So let's move on to the next match here. And we have honestly a great match. I want to talk about the promo first. We have Swerve versus Alex Zayne, which is going to be a killer match. One of the matches that people are talking about all weekend as a potential, to steal the card and be an absolute show stealer. Both these guys can fly around the ring. Swerve as a heel is working a different style, not bouncing around the ring as he used to. But when the guy wants to go, he can go. Let's check out what Swerve said about this match coming up.
So the year of 2022 has been the year of firsts for Swerve, baby. First time competing in AEW. First time competing in New Japan Strong. And now, my first time ever in my 13-year career competing in Ring of Honor. And with that brings a first time ever matchup with the talented, athletic, superior Alex Zayne. Now, Alex, there's a lot of flyers in this world. There's a lot of athletic, talented individuals like yourself. I used to be one of them until I started hurting every last one of them. And you're gonna be no different. I told you, I'm bringing a whole different type of flavor to Ring of Honor and the industry itself. That's just not gonna start with you, and it's not gonna end with you. But I look forward to the matchup. April 1st in Dallas, baby. SuperCard of HONOR. Turning Dallas into not only whose house? Swerve's house.
Swerve's house. Going to be a killer match, man. I love Swerve, and I think they had something. He caught fire in NXT. It was one of the reasons I tuned in every Wednesday night for him. Don't know why they didn't see what they saw in him. This match is going to be sick.
Yeah, this match is going to be. I'm excited for this one. I mean, there's so many matches when we talk about it. It's like, I mean, this could be match of the night.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I feel like every match has that potential to be match of the night, and that's exciting. I think Swerve takes this one. I think he's on a tear right now, and I think it gives him legitimacy when he comes back to do his stuff in AEW too. But I don't know. Does he stick around and stay in ROH, or does he go back to AEW?
He could certainly fit in ROH, and again, we're all just using our preconceived notions of what we think Ring of Honor could be.
Yeah.
I think once we see the presentation about what they're trying to do and the type of card they're constructing, listen, there's room for a guy like Swerve Strickland on any roster because you need that type of character. I mean, we saw the promo being cut. His character is so defined. He knows who he is as a character. He knows what message he wants to get across on the microphone. He's confident in the ring, out of the ring. I just think he could be an absolute huge star. And I'm looking forward to this match more so. I'm looking forward to what happens next. I'm looking forward to what Swerve's going to do in the future. And let's not forget, Alex Zayne is awesome too.
Yeah.
And I think having him in this match as well, it's going to be one of those matches that it gets the heart rate up. They move fast with really no breaks. You have to really catch your breath. It's going to be one of those pace setters. And I love that they have this on the card.
You know, with every match that we talk about, I do find myself thinking about, you know, what's going to happen after the match, you know, how it's going to be laid out in ROH. And it gives more of like a big all in feel, or like the first Double or Nothing, like what was going to happen. AEW didn't have a TV deal at the time. They had Double or Nothing. And then we went a few months without anything. So, you know, it kind of has that feel, and like everything feels big for this.
Yeah, and I think that's what Tony Khan does best. I mean, we saw him on Busted Open. We see him on every media appearance. When he wants to hype something up, he doesn't pull any punches. He makes promises and he backs them up. And I think that's what we see with him. And like I talked about before, I want to reiterate it, is that he has a track record of following through on these promises. They're not empty. He's pleased every fan. I haven't met a wrestling fan that hasn't been happy with what he's lived up to. Maybe the Christian signing let people down, but even that was an exciting signing. Every time he says something big is happening, something big's happening. And I think this whole thing, the Ring of Honor endeavor, if he's not going to do it big, not going to do it well, he's not going to do it at all.
Right.
So I think even something with Swerve Strickland, he's on the card strategically. He's not just placed there as like, all right, we need high flyers. He's there for a reason. We just need to figure out why. Yes, sir, Nick the Comic Nerd. Go back and watch some of Claudio's stuff in Ring of Honor. Absolute monster. His stuff in... And he had some hair, too. That's the thing. He also had hair in Ring of Honor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. It was before he lost his hair. Maybe all the matches in Ring of Honor made him lose his hair. Either way, Claudio he's a guy you can build around. We didn't even mention him in the beginning because I didn't want to spoil our potential surprises.
Yeah.
But that's a guy that you just take. You take Lethal, potentially Cesaro, Lee Moriarty, a Willow Yuta, and right there you go to work. That is right now Ring of Honor. I would watch that every week with those guys anchoring the card.
I think when Cesaro was in Ring of Honor, I still had hair too. Pretty sure.
Yeah, but you guys both rock it. I mean, the thing is, you guys rock it. So that is the most important part. And you guys, at the same time, Claudio could be the world champion if you go the right route. You could have Claudio just be. I mean, there's so many guys that could be the Ring of Honor world champion.
Yeah,
but he would be a guy I can get behind being the first, I guess, face of Ring of Honor. I'm just getting excited even thinking about it.
100%.
All right, now let's get into the two biggest matches of, I would say, the night.
Yeah.
So I want to show two things here. So there's been two promos. I mean, this we talked about before. This has been building up since Final Battle 2021 in December, before Ring of Honor unofficially closed their doors. They took a hiatus. This show, if you guys didn't know, SuperCard was announced prior to Tony Khan purchasing, which is why it's running against Rampage. Obviously, Tony Khan wouldn't run a show against his own product. But the guy he is, following through on promises, he didn't want to let fans down, wanted to have people that bought tickets have something to look forward to. So we had FTR and the Briscoes been flirting. They've been flirting on social media. They've been flirting on different programs. Anytime the Briscoes grab a mic, anytime the Briscoes make a media appearances, they mention FTR. Same with FTR. We haven't really heard the Briscoes officially announced, or their name announced on AEW, but they've done everything but just say their names.
Right.
So this has been building for a long time. Let's check out two of the best promos of the program so far. Let's start with FTR.
A lot of anticipation building for this match. There's been a lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement for us personally. I know I can speak for myself that the anticipation has been keeping me up at night. It's been something that I can't stop thinking about. And it's not just about the Briscoe brothers. It's not just about making history. It's about the fact that we get to go out and we get to control our own destiny. Everything we've ever done, we've succeeded in as a team. Every championship we've ever won, we've won together as a team. Every title we've ever went after, we have won. And April 1st, that's not going to change. April 1st, we go after the Ring of Honor tag team titles. And we're going to add them to our list. We are going to be the 6-star FTR, because you might talk like you're better than us, but Briscoes, you're not even the best Briscoe brothers, brother.
Oh.
You're looking at FTR, the living legends, and you can't hold our belts.
I think it's well documented about my problems with anxiety and my problems with facing adversity and overcoming adversity. And I'd be remiss to say if this match didn't have me very anxious. I'd be remiss to say if I wasn't staying up late at night and thinking about this match. Because this match, it cements our legacy. Our legacy comes down to this one match. For years and years and years, while I was barely making it on the roads, driving up and down the highways and byways, there's one tag team I heard of, and it was the Briscoe brothers. There was no team tougher than the Briscoe brothers. There was no team better than the Briscoe brothers. And then in 2014, a couple of 5'10" North Carolinians came along. I was Cash and myself, FTR, and we changed the world. We changed the landscape of tag team wrestling. 2022, April the 1st, for the first time ever, two of the greatest tag teams of all time step in the ring together, and one comes out holding one championship that has eluded our career, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. Briscoes, you faced a hell of a lot of teams, some of the greatest teams in our industry, but I promise you, as God watching over me right now, this is no lie, you've never faced a tag team like FTR. April the 1st, it ain't no joke. It ain't no April Fools. We're coming to your home, Ring of Honor, to beat your ass. Top guys, out.
Check out what a promo by FTR. Let's get into the predictions and talk about what you're feeling about this match. So much can be said about the quality of the match. We know it's going to be good. We know they're going to both work their asses off to make this very memorable. FTR goes out there and steals the show every time they're out there, in my opinion. Huge FTR fan. What do you expect from this match? Is the bar set too high in your mind for them to even meet it?
No, and we talked about this on the flagship show last night. This has such a big fight feel for me. This has been building up so much that now when they are standing across the ring from each other and the bell's about to ring, the anticipation, the just adrenaline that I'm going to have for it, I can already feel it. I'm excited for this. I think that this is I don't think they're going to let us down with this match. I think they're going to go out there and both teams are going to give it the most that they can give.
Yeah, I think the Briscoes, this is the first match they're working of the night. So they're going to give their all in this match. And whatever's left of them is going to travel a couple blocks down to work another match.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, these guys are the utmost professional wrestlers that you can find going out there making towns. And they're going to live up to the commitment of breaking down their body no matter what it takes to put on a 5-star match. I fully expect this match to be match of the year, or definitely up there as being match of the year.
Yeah.
And I just what I really love, and I've said this on every show I've been on, I just love tag team wrestling. And when it's done right, it could be the highlight of any promotion. And I think Tony Khan from the beginning has telegraphed the idea that he wants tag team wrestling to be important. And I think that's going to be no different in Ring of Honor. I mean, Ring of Honor tag team wrestling has been very important. We alluded to the 6-man championships as well. That has a place on the card. And I think you follow the lineage. FTR represents in any era they could have been involved in tag team wrestling. They could be
absolutely
in 1983. They'd be out there, WCW Worldwide. That they're a team that has studied the tape. Dax's affinity, and I think obviously Cash as well, but Dax mostly is a huge Bret Hart mark. I think he would say that himself. So you even see some of the stuff that he does in the match. It's little nuances that Brett used to do. And I would fully expect there to be even like more hints in this match of Brett as well, dropping some of those moves. But there's so much to this match. It's hard to even say what they're going to do. I mean, I think the finish is FTR winning. I really think FTR is getting the win here. And I think they've been long overdue to get a big win ever since they lost the AEW championships. The fact that they weren't on Revolution was, to me, a crime, because I think they are. And I know the show was so stacked and it's hard to keep them, hard. Where are you going to put them on? You don't want to just throw them on just to throw them on, but they're so talented. And I remember, getting ready for the show, I'm like, oh crap, FTR is not on the show. And we got so upset about them being in WWE and not being utilized correctly. So I just think it's really cool to have them here in Ring of Honor, winning the championship and just setting up the bar for there and be like, all right, they're AAA champions. They're also Ring of Honor champions. They're going to defend the titles on weekly Ring of Honor television whenever that starts. And then that's how you establish the Ring of Honor tag division.
Yeah, and that's a great argument. I can 100% see that happening. I still think the Briscoes are going to win this match. My prediction is for them. I think establishing Ring of Honor, having the Ring of Honor tag team champions, when you think Ring of Honor tag team, you think Briscoes, and they're going in the Hall of Fame. I think with them having their Hall of Fame induction this weekend, I don't think there's any way that they lose this match. I'm not saying that I can see it going both ways, but I'm still going to go with the Briscoes winning.
Yeah, I mean, when you say it like that, I'm like, oh, wow, I don't see FTR winning the match. But I look at it this way. I mean, no matter who comes out victorious, both of them are going to be made into bigger stars. I think the fact that it's been built up and anticipated this long, there's a reason that people are excited about it. It's because both of them are well above being buried by the other. I think at this point, wins and losses for this match doesn't really matter. We want to go out there and just see them go out there and beat the crap out of each other and have a technical, a hard nose, whatever type of style they decide to work. I just think it's going to be go back in history of Ring of Honor and watch a match like Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Samoa Joe. It's going to be a match that's akin to that. And don't be surprised if you see some nods to that kind of stuff in the match as well with, Dax and Cash. They're such students of the game that, Dax is right now dialing in some old school Ring of Honor from 2005 and be like, all right, let me just write a love letter to the fans that are coming back on this journey with us.
So let me pose a question to you then. So FTR wins. They've just issued the challenge for FTR Young Bucks 2. What does that do for that match if they win these titles?
I mean, you even tie in the Ring of Honor history that the Young Bucks have. I mean, they're one of the best tag teams in Ring of Honor history. The new era of Ring of Honor and almost brought Ring of Honor back to what was almost the second promotion before AEW came in and took over. But when the Bucks were there, Cody was there and Marty was there. The whole crew was there, the Bullet Club, all that stuff. Ring of Honor was a legitimate second contender. It wasn't at the level that AEW got it to, but they were the lily pad that got them there. There was no way that AEW exists without Ring of Honor, and I think there's no Ring of Honor success without the Young Bucks, and it's all tied together. So to your question, I know I went sideways to it. I think it even lifts it even further. And the fact that all these tag teams are kind of interchangeable, obviously we talked about AAA in Mexico with FTR, and the Lucha Brothers held those titles for a bit. It just puts all the tag teams on the same playing field, where at any time you can see these titles change hands. It doesn't matter the country. It doesn't matter the promotion. These matches mean something. And it's not like, all right, they're going to defend the AAA titles with FTR and they're not going to win because there's no way they can take the AAA titles back to Ring of Honor or take them back to AEW. But I feel like the playing field is so open with the Forbidden Door stuff being around and being accepted that I think like anything can happen. I mean, and any weekly TV show, you could potentially, or these pay-per-views, if they're going to be working like quarterly pay-per-views, I don't know what the pay-per-view schedule would be for Ring of Honor. Who knows if the Bucks just show up and like, we're going to do a 6-month run in Ring of Honor because we kind of played out what we're doing in AEW so far.
Right. I can see it going either way. I mean, honestly, I can see it being booked either way. Either way, I'm here for it.
Absolutely. As Mike Belcaster would say, I'm here for it as well. So let's plus the FTR promo. I mean, not FTR, the Briscoe promo that they cut. You mentioned before, it's black and white. It's filmed in like the backwoods. Sick promo. The FTR promo was good. I feel like this one was better.
Ain't no way, chick. Ain't ready. There ain't no way, man. Ain't ready. Ain't no way y'all could possibly be ready.
You can say you're ready as many times as you want.
That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Y'all boys ain't ready.
There's no way, man. Talking about they anxious. You hear them, chick?
Hey,
somebody losing sleep.
They losing sleep, baby. I've been getting the best sleep of my life.
I've been snoring, baby.
Dreaming about this ass whooping.
Ain't nothing, man.
Wheeler, you hear me? Big Dax, you hear me?
Y'all boys anxious?
I've been dreaming about this ass whooping Friday night.
Y'all got all these titles, Raw, SmackDown, all that bullshit, and these Sussex County bulls got you sweating. Huh? Is that how it is? That's what it sounds like to me?
Because they highly concerned. You know what they're concerned about?
What's that?
They're concerned about their legacy.
Yeah, their legacy.
Their legacy.
They gonna cement their legacy. Bitch, I cement the driveway and get paid for that shit.
Hey, you know
y'all talk crazy, man.
You know what I'm concerned with? Bouncing these boys' heads.
That's right.
Bouncing these boys' heads.
Y'all cement your legacy. Greatest of all time, all that bullshit. Hell with the terms, man. I'm tired of hearing all these dumbass terms. All we want to do is let the people know that right now,
right here, right now,
we the best. Right now, them boys is the best, baby. Nobody on our level. Spring 2022, right here, right now, them boys is the baddest tag team doing it.
On the planet, baby. On the planet. You can have your mantle set up.
Yeah.
You can have your mantle set up with all your belts up there.
Got your mantle back there, cut your little promos with all these little title belts behind you. Hell with that dumbass shit. You be doing some dumb shit, man. Huh? I'm gonna tell you what we got. We ain't got no mantle with titles. We got a wall with heads.
Tell us.
We got a wall with tag teams of the past. All their heads on that bitch. Now Friday night in Dallas, guess what? Y'all boys getting added to the collection.
That's beautiful.
Added to the collection. That's it.
Added to the collection.
That's it.
Is he eating Cool Whip?
Mark's always eating. So he had peanut butter in one. He's always got something that he's eating in the back. I love it. I love that, you can have your mantle with the titles. He said, you know what we got on the wall? Heads.
So good. And I mean, you can go back through the history of wrestling. It's hard to find a tag team that's accomplished more than what the Briscoes have. I mean, aside from a strong WWE run, they've pretty much done it all. And it's just amazing that they're here for the rebrand of Ring of Honor. And I'm just super excited for it because they have, again, we talk about it with the other guys, as much as they've accomplished, they have the chance to give back and create something even more special and be introduced to a national audience in a way that they've never been introduced to a national audience before. And you can talk about how Time Warner doesn't want them involved and all that stuff that's going into past tweets that they may or may not have made in character and all that. But as far as in the ring and everyone that wants to vouch for them out of the ring, talking about what they do for a promotion when they come in, I mean, everyone has nothing but glowing things to say about the two of them. So, I think they can do nothing but help Ring of Honor. And it might just be Tony Khan's back way of getting the Briscoes able to work with the talent. It's like, it's not under AEW Time Warner, it's under Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it too. And if we're going with who's won this promo war between the two of them, it's Briscoes all day.
I agree. That promo was absolutely. We want to talk about, like, for me, when promos hit right, it's when the character feels authentic. And when I see the Briscoes on the mic, it's hard to know if they know the wrestling's fake or like scripted. It just feels like they are going in there into business for themselves. And I know they're not, but they feel like the most authentic characters that exist on a TV show because, I'd be scared to work with them. So it's just like,
no, for sure.
They feel like they're absolutely out of their mind.
Dude, I feel like when they hit stop on that promo, nothing changes. When they hit stop, it's not like they go out of character. They hit stop and it's the same shit that's happened before.
Yeah, exactly.
When I met them, when I watched them in that armory, I asked them to cut a promo for me for the Turnbuckle Tavern. I said, look, will you give a shout out to my podcast? And they said, what's the name? I told them, cut it. That's all they needed. They needed 0 to go on.
That's
an amazing promo. Those guys they are who they are.
Agreed. And you saw the Orioles hat representing that northeastern level of the world, Baltimore. There's a certain type of, like, when I went to see them in Baltimore, because they're from the Delaware DMV area, but that was like a home game for them against the Bucks. I mean, people had them boys flags, and it was a not even just fandom, it was a lifestyle. People were like living and dying with a Briscoe match. So they have a huge sect of that state that is living and dying, like the old school territory wrestling where it's like, our guy's in town, we need to go see him. So there's a level of that to it as well. All right, let's get into the main event here. We have the Ring of Honor World Championship. That this match has been also a long time in the making. We were supposed to get this all the way back at Final Battle 2021, but we saw Jonathan Gresham come down with COVID. So we didn't get that match. We saw Bandido walk away with the championship. And now we have 2 championships. And we need to find a way to have an undisputed champion. So initial thoughts on quality of this match and who you think's walking away with the championship as the first ever new Ring of Honor undisputed champion.
I think Gresham wins. I think Gresham's going to come out on top in this one. I think the match is going to be great. I think the build up and the story to it is awesome too. But I do think in the end, I think Gresham he will come out on top and be the undisputed ROH champ.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you 100%. I think Gresham walks out. I think he represents everything you want the Ring of Honor to be. I think he might be the best wrestler in the world right now. And I think that's not just the hyperbole. It's the truth. I just don't think he's had the spotlight on him for people to understand it, but this will provide a platform for him to become a absolute superstar. Everything this guy touches has been gold. The interesting part is that we talked about it, and obviously people have to make their money and they have to be on different shows, but it's weird to me that Bandido is featured on other shows, especially in the main event here, and not the main event on the other places he's wrestling. It kind of takes it away from me a little bit. It makes Bandido feel lesser than. I'm not sure if you feel the same way.
I can see that. Yeah. I mean, it definitely doesn't give as much legitimacy to him if he's, mid-carding on somewhere else and then coming over here as the champ.
Yeah, it is weird. It almost feels like the old era Ring of Honor where they were just secondary. Like, oh, he's Ring of Honor world champion, but he's a mid-carder here. So I'm hoping that they changed just how that feels. And I think Tony Khan's really good at making people feel a certain way. And I think whatever he touches wants to be important. If it's a world championship that Tony Khan is booking for, we know how he books the AEW World Championship. So I think he's going to be making it important. And I think the fact that maybe Bandido is working to be wrestling on the mid card, maybe the writing's on the wall that all of the stock is in Jonathan Gresham and Tony Khan's mind.
Yeah, I can see that totally. FREEMZ says of all nights for that to happen. He also says he wanted to say he has Claudio as the mystery partner. I guess he's dialing it in here, or Claudio or Cage. Yep.
We will get FREEMZ on here. He is a huge, huge piece of what we're doing here. So guys, just make sure you guys are tuning in next week. FREEMZ is the resident diehard Ring of Honor fan with I don't want to speak for Sneed, but the most important opinion I think on here, because I think he's been the fan and he's like the guardian of what Ring of Honor should be, in my opinion. So
if anybody's going to come on and have the insight and the knowledge of what to talk about when we go into things with the Ring of Honor in the past and things that are happening now, it's FREEMZ for sure.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys are checking out his Twitch just after we're done here. I'll hop on there and give him some love there. Make sure you like and subscribe and do all the stuff. I'm not on Twitch. I don't know if it's called subscribe, but do your thing there. Follow him there.
Yeah.
So we did mention the match being Jonathan Gresham getting the win here. I did go through every time they'd been in the ring together, and I broke it down. It took me a little bit of time, but this is the first singles match, as far as I can tell, that they've ever wrestled each other, which is cool. It brings some level of intrigue to it. But they have wrestled 7 times in history since 2019. And according to Cage Match, the average rating, I took all the ratings according to Cage Match, and whether you believe their ratings or not, that's one thing, but I do. The average rating was 7.87 out of 10. So we know when they're involved, and of course there's other guys involved when there's triple threats or tag matches. But anytime these two are in the ring, it's explosive, it's exciting. And whether Bandido's on the level of like the Ring of Honor World Champion as you feel he should be, he's still in there working his ass off, and he's a great wrestler.
Absolutely, man. That's a high rating for all the matches that they've been in together.
So I have them written down here. So in 2019, he was involved in a 6-man match. It was Gresham, Cobb, Jay Lethal. Actually, it was 10-man tag. Gresham, Cobb, Lethal, Flip Gordon, Dalton Castle versus Tracy Williams, Mark Haskins, Juice Robinson, David Finlay, and Bandido. In September 2019, it was Bandido and Mark Haskins versus Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. At PWG, it was Bandido versus David Starr versus Jonathan Gresham, and that was September 2019. In February 2020, At the Crash, not a Ring of Honor, it was Bandido and Dragon Lee versus Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. February 2020, it was Bandido and Ray Horace versus Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. And then we have Bandido and Flamita. That's a sick wrestler, too. If you never checked out Flamita, he is a sick wrestler. Versus Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. We have Bandido, Chris Dickinson, Dragon Lee, Homicide, and Jonathan Gresham versus EC3, Flip Gordon, Jay Briscoe, Josh Woods, and Mark Briscoe, August 2021. And finally, I believe was the highest rated match. I think it was an 8.5. Bandido and Haskins defeating Gresham and Lethal at Ring of Honor Summer Supercard 2019. After watching that match, I wrote banger match. I think it was absolutely sick. Either way, Bandido goes out there and he gives you his best effort every week. And I think, look at that rating, 7.87. I know you can credit other guys, but they're a huge portion of the match. And
sure,
I think they're going to steal the show.
Yeah, so FREEMZ also says he has Gresham over Bandido. Feels like some interesting stuff might happen after. I agree, especially with what Tony said. Don't leave early.
Yeah, so we have to talk about that. He said, do not leave early. We're, after the main event, I think it's a time to set the tone for what the new era is going to be.
Yeah.
We saw the blueprint at All Out, what it looked like of like after the main event. That's when the big stuff goes down. My prediction, I'm going to put it out there, and I think it's been sort of talked about in the Discord. Samoa Joe, I feel like, has to show up in some capacity.
Yeah.
My one caveat is I want him to show up as an active talent. I don't want him to be the announcer. He was cleared to work, and I think he still has some wrestling he wants to do. I mean, at least any public appearance he's done or media, he says he wants to get in the ring and wrestle. And I think the endless options, he's been out of the game for so long at this point. I want to see him get back in there and wrestle these guys while he still can.
Absolutely. If he's cleared to work, he needs to be there as a worker.
100%. And do you agree with him showing up at the end?
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. I think to end that show, if we see Samoa Joe come out as a competitor and throw himself against Gresham, to have a showdown with him, God, I'm in for that. 100%.
I agree with you. We're going to move on to our next segment here, and this will be a staple on the weekly show. It's called Honorable Mention. We'll play the video in one sec, but I want to explain it to you guys. Each week, in alignment with the history of Ring of Honor, we'll recommend one match each for you to go back and check out, tell you where you can find it, if it's available on YouTube. Most of them are. Ring of Honor's YouTube channel is pretty active as far as posting full matches, but you can also download their streaming service as well, which is still active. Some of us have been paying for it, not knowing. Me, saying like I was playing New Japan World for the longest time, didn't realize when even during the pandemic, but whatever, supporting good wrestling. So let's play Honorable Mentions. All right, I'll let you start with this, Sneed. I think recommendations. I'm not sure if you went back in deep Ring of Honor history or recent Ring of Honor history. What's a match you believe someone should check out?
Well, one of the first matches that I went and checked out when I would go back and watch and learn about some of the guys that were in WWE, when I would find out, hey, those guys were in Ring of Honor. They had history over there. One of the first ones that I ever went back and watched, which was still such a great match and one of my favorite matches, was the Kevin Steen El Generico ladder match.
So good.
And it's from Final Battle 2012, I believe. But it was just kind of the end of that feud. And that match was so brutal, man. Like they just went at it. And the end of that match was so good. You can find it on YouTube. I did go back today and go back and look at a little bit of that match, but just it was kind of their feud coming to a head and just kind of ending with that ladder match. And it was for Kevin Steen was the ROH champion at the time. And the ladder match for it, man, just the ending of that match, brutal. Loved it.
So FREEMZ says he's going to be typing his after I'm done giving mine, and I can't wait to hear what match he recommends, because like I said, he's like the godfather of the Honor side. I want to make sure that we heed to his recommendation, because again, he's the longest reigning Ring of Honor fan we have in here. So my choice, I went deep and I was thinking about it. Like I mentioned, I've been watching Ring of Honor on and off since about 2004, just watching bits and pieces. Going to live shows when they come. I mentioned, not sure if I mentioned it on air or off air because we've been on here for a bit, but I went to Death of Dishonor, where CM Punk signed the the WWE contract on the Ring of Honor World Championship. I was at G1 Supercard at MSG back in 2019, and I was also at Best in the World, which was in Baltimore, which was Young Bucks versus the Briscoes. So I've seen Ring of Honor in different eras. I mean, they were wrestling at Sports Plus where there was no locker room. I mentioned I urinated next to Jay Lethal because there was no locker room for them to get changed.
Right.
And right next to Jay Lethal, there he was in his green tights wrestling in the main event that night against CM Punk for the World Championship. And there he is just taking a leak next to me. So that's what indie wrestling's about, God damn it. So, no locker room. So we see where they were to where they are now with, they're going to be on a huge stage highlighted at WrestleMania weekend to see. They used to work at Sports Plus, was just the ballroom above an arcade. So that that was what it used to be and where they were working, and smaller venues, I'm sure, as well. But anyway, my match that I want you guys to check out is the last match of a trilogy, Samoa Joe versus CM Punk. It was the third match of the trilogy. The first two matches ended in 60-minute draws. This took place December 12th, 2004 in New Jersey. And it would mark the end of the trilogy that I mentioned. And it's become legendary. It included 2 5-star rated Joe and Punk matches by Dave Meltzer if you think he holds any weight. But go back and judge for yourself. Both those matches are absolutely epic. They wrestled in Dayton, Ohio, and then Chicago to New Jersey where they finished the feud. And these two guys gave everything they had, their blood, sweat, tears, for the right to be called Ring of Honor World Champion. And it really established for me my love of Ring of Honor when I first watched. FREEMZ mentioned exchanging DVDs about how that's how you got Ring of Honor because it wasn't on TV.
Right.
I first saw this match on a DVD, and it blew my mind because at the time I was watching WWE in 2004, and there was some guys going out there, Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, wrestling a certain style, but I never saw this type of wrestling. It's almost commonplace today because we see it so much. It's so accessible. But at the time, I think I was 15, 16 years old. It just blew my mind. And this series was Ring of Honor's chance to place itself in the same tradition as other legendary series in wrestling. And I love series wrestling. I love when you have best of 7s, best of 5s. You go back to Dory Funk Jr. versus Jack Briscoe, Terry Funk versus Harley Race, Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair. And it made the Ring of Honor Championship feel important. So I had a highlight video I wanted to show you guys of the highlights. We decided against doing it. I didn't want anything to be pulled here. But go back. It is on YouTube. Check out Samoa Joe versus CM Punk. All 3 matches are on YouTube. Please go out and check it out. Sick match. And the one thing I want to mention, great storytelling as well. It's both 60-minute time limits. I know people got upset about the Hangman time limit draw with Bryan Danielson, but they eventually got to a point where they were selling the fact that Samoa Joe was trying to get Punk in the choke. He was trying for 3 matches, and he finally locks it in the 3rd match, and Punk goes to sleep, and that's it. And Samoa Joe comes away with the victory. Amazing match. I can't say enough good things about it. Go back and check it out.
That's awesome, man. Frame said that he was afraid you were going to say that, and that's why he wanted to wait. So FREEMZ did come in. He said he's going CM Punk and Raven dog collar match. Good place for the current AEW fan to get some history with what's going on now. Yeah.
I went back and watched that match, especially when they announced MJF versus CM Punk in the dog collar match, because you can go back and watch the Valentine and Piper match. But I think seeing what Punk used to do, I mean, they paid homage to it with the music from Ring of Honor with Mazira Kantar, the AFI, and then he was wearing the same exact outfit, except he had Larry the dog instead of the skull and crossbones. Just amazing. That whole thing, I mean, Tony Khan's been saying he used the word love letter to Ring of Honor fans. That's exactly what he's doing. If it's like what he did at Revolution, I just can't wait to see what they're going to do. They're going to be dropping Easter eggs all over the place. And even if you don't catch it, it's fine. But it's just like, it's almost like the Marvel universe where, like, if you're a huge comic book fan, they're dropping things all over the place. You can pick them up if you want. But I think as you're a diehard Ring of Honor fan, like FREEMZ, like some of you guys out there, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I think they're going to do it really good justice.
MJF copied the promo.
That is absolutely correct. Yeah.
Yep. So good, man.
Yeah, so we'll be coming to you guys every week, giving you guys just 3 matches. So it's going to be fun to go back through the history of Ring of Honor and finding matches that are, I guess, appropriate to what's going on, but also just really good matches for you guys to educate yourself. I'm one of those fans that I want to go back and watch wrestling, that if I missed it, that's fine. I want to go back and educate myself because it just makes you a more well-rounded fan to see things that are out there. You know, watching old school Japanese wrestling from the 80s, that's been like my new kick, going out there and just seeing some of the stuff they were doing well ahead of their time. It's insane to watch some of those matches that Dynamite Kid used to have. It's like, I cannot believe that was happening while you're watching, Ultimate Warrior and Hogan going out there and, having the style matches they are and not ripping on that because there's a time and place.
Right.
But it's like it didn't develop like in a vacuum. It's been developing over time. It just was not on the forefront.
Let's see. FREEMZ says that he can finally make people watch Colt Cabana. He was bad.
He was so him, and I'm interested too because one of the biggest things in Ring of Honor was them being a tag team. Pronouns, pal, Punk and Colt Cabana. They've been just two ships in the night because of all the beef they have. But I wonder if they can bury the hatchet and do a reunion because that'd be so sick because that was one of my favorite parts of Ring of Honor.
That would be awesome if we could get that. I don't feel like it's out of the realm of possibility, but we'll see what happens.
All right, it is time for the final handshake. So this is just the segment for us to get a final wrap up of our thoughts, anything that didn't sort of fit into any of the agenda. Want to make sure you guys check out Friday, April 1st. I think it starts at 8 p.m., right? Supercard of Honor. We should know that. We are the Ring of Honor source here. We will be coming back to you guys next week, April 7th, 2022. Same time, same place, Turnbuckle Tavern, 7 p.m., reviewing, recapping the Supercard of Honor show. We're going to be trying to keep the same format, but instead of previewing, we're going to be reviewing. So it might be a little bit of a longer show, or I don't know. We'll see. Just as Ring of Honor is getting their legs under them, we are as well. This is a brand new format. I really hope you guys enjoyed listening to this because it's been super fun, Sneed.
Yeah, I love this. It's going to make me get into Ring of Honor more, which I'm super excited for. I'm excited for the show. I just got choked right before I started saying this, so I'm not tearing up. It does make me, we are going to grow as Ring of Honor grows. And I think it's going to be fun to grow with them, to start with them, and to see how our show grows with them. I'm excited. I think there's a lot of huge things going to come from this Ring of Honor acquisition by Tony Khan. I don't think he does mostly no wrong to me. So I'm excited. I can't wait. You guys can catch us here every Thursday. So pumped.
Same here. And I just want to take the time to thank everybody at the Turnbuckle Tavern for having me. I did make appearances and this all happened so quickly and it just evolved into something organic. And it's just been so much fun to interact with everyone in the Discord, interact with people on the different shows. It's filled with so many talented and eclectic mix of wrestling fans that just provide so much good insight. I mean, guys, review, subscribe, buy the merchandise. It's so much free content. There's so much that the Turnbuckle Tavern is giving you. And the two bad Chads, they're providing, the backbone to what has been coming. We have shows every day. Sneed, how many all the shows that we've been having?
Yeah, at this point, I know we release things every day but Sunday, but as far and that's all pod format, but as far as streaming goes, I mean, it's hard for me to go down the list of stuff that we have going on. I feel like I would always forget something. We have so much going on, man, and we are pumped that you're a part of it now. You came in and fit like a peg, man. And it was an easy choice to start this show, to have Ring of Honor, Honor Society with myself and Freeman and you. Super excited for it. But yeah, make sure you can find everything that we have on theturnbuckletavern.com. You can find the link to the Discord, Twitch, TikTok. There's everything that you can find our Pro Wrestling Tees store. You can find our Teespring store. What you won't find on Pro Wrestling Tees, you'll find the edgier stuff over on Teespring. So there's something for everybody out there every day of the week. And if you're not even that big of a wrestling fan, if you're a movie fan, we have the Broken VCR on Tuesday. So
that is a great show. I've been checking those out, going back and listening to old episodes. Amazing.
If there's something we're not giving you, you probably don't need it. So
true words have not been said. I mean, I am honored, pun completely intended, to be a part of this journey with you, Sneed. I can't wait to get FREEMZ back in here next week. When the Wi-Fi is all sorted, because he's the man. I can't wait to just go on the journey with you guys. And we'll be texting. Join the Discord, guys. We're going to be talking about Ring of Honor as it's happening, talking about GCW as it's happening tonight, Janela's spring break tonight, all the things going on GCW. And of course, Saturday and Sunday, the aforementioned WWE having their events as well. So much going on in the wrestling world. Make sure you guys get involved. Join the Discord. Turnbuckle Tavern makes WWE tolerable. That's all I got to say.
Hey, if we can do that, good Lord, that's a feat. So we'll see. That's a feat, man. And that's, we try. We have Raw Down, which is such a good show. I'm proud to be the president of that show.
And I am proud to be your ace in your sleeve, man.
You're the ace up my sleeve. I've got my enforcer in Tom and BoneyCon. If you got anything to say about it, you know where my office is, bud.
On that note, guys, next week's show, again, like I mentioned, will be April 7th, 2022. Next Thursday, we'll be coming to you with all the reaction and results of SuperCard of Honor, Ring of Honor, starting the Tony Khan era. We'll see you guys next week.